Hello everyone, in this video I have a scrapbook process to share with you with the Thompson's Craft Supplies design team. I'm still using, of course, October's very beautiful, pretty, spooky kit, and for this layout I really wanted to use that die cut 12x12 cobweb glitter paper. It's so pretty. At first, when I first got it, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to cut it up and stretch it over as many projects as possible, but then I saw sense and I was like, no, I need to use it in the one project, just keep it whole because it is so pretty. So I went through the die cuts with a few spooky and sparkly paper pad. I bought that as an add-on for this kit, and I chose this paper which is spider webs again, so it's the same kind of theme, but it's silver foiled one, so I thought that would, you know, show up quite nicely behind all that black glitter and stuff, so you'd be able to see it, you know. It wasn't necessarily going to get lost behind all that busyness here. Now, so my idea for this layout was to create various little shaker pockets behind some of the cobwebs. So what I'm doing here is sort of tracing around little areas of it with acetate and then putting the acetate behind it, just kind of like how you would back a cut file kind of thing, except I'm not backing the whole thing. I'm just backing little bits and pieces. Now, this did end up quite tricky. I don't know if it was just because, like, it's not a paper, the die cut paper, whatever, is so dark and it's acetate, and I don't know, but I made a bit of a mess of it in places, but thankfully I don't think you can really tell. I think on my third attempt of backing one of the cobwebs, I actually realised if I put a piece of paper behind it, then I can actually see what I'm doing. And during the process of doing this, I did genuinely consider driving to the range and buying some 12x12 acetate that I've seen there and just backing the whole thing, but then I remembered that I didn't have any makeup on and I don't want to get arrested for, like, you know, causing a disturbance to the piece because scary without makeup. Joking, only a bit joking. Anyways, but I just kept going and I've backed 5 little areas with the acetate. I use a Pigma Micron just to sort of draw the little areas that I need to cut. The thing with the Pigma is it goes on the acetate fine, but then you can actually just rub it off with your finger, so you can't see it once it's stuck on there. So I was just showing you there the bits that I backed. I don't know how well you can see them because, again, you know, it's acetate and you can't see it very well, but yes. So just before I start assembling things, I'm just going to add a little bit of wet media onto my backing paper, just using some Lindy's in Prima Donna Purple and the packaging technique, just to have a little bit of colour coming up from behind the spider webs and stuff. And that packaging technique went on really nicely over that foiled paper. Something about it just, it was really nice, and it dried so quickly as well. So obviously I need to lift the cobweb thing up on foam to get my shaker elements done. So what I'm doing is taking some foam tape and using a craft knife and a metal ruler just to sort of cut the foam tape into thin strips. I think I make it into 4 strips. Now what I would usually do with this is actually put the foam tape down first on something like not really vellum, because vellum's too expensive for this, but like tracing paper or like baking paper, parchment paper kind of stuff. But I didn't have any, I couldn't find it, I've run out, so I had to just do it on the mat like that. It means it wasn't as sticky as it usually is, but it wasn't too bad. So as you can see, I take each strip and I just sort of go around each of the little areas where I'm going to put the sequins and just, do it like that. Now, in some places, the foam tape was a little bit wider than the cobwebs, but that was just really, really hard to avoid. I couldn't really do it much thinner than that. I have seen people use fun foam, you know, like the foam sheets that are adhesive backed, and then cut really thin strips of those and use it for this kind of thing. But that stuff seems to be really hard to get hold of in the UK, or you can get it, but it is not cheap. So this method works just fine. I'm also placing little bits of foam on the back of other parts of the cut paper as well, just so obviously it doesn't dip down where there isn't a shaker element. So I'm going to create my own little sequin mix here. I'm using these Halloween sequins, which I used in a previous one of these videos as well. It was just one I bought from Wilko or Poundland or somewhere like that a few years ago. You usually see them crop up around Halloween time. And I'm going through and picking out loads of the little black spider sequins, a couple of the little white ghosties, and then I'm just adding a black and white sequin mix to that as well. I was just picking out any sequins that weren't really relevant, like there was a big flower, didn't want that. I'm just going to add this big spider die cut that, again, I got from a local craft store last year. I think, so it's not something I'm going to be able to link. She ended up, that spider, you can't really see her, but never mind. And I'm just going to add my little sequin mixes into the little sections there. I also, off camera as well, added a couple of the sequins from the kit and a handful of purple sequins from my stash as well. I wanted it to be mostly black and white with just a little hint of the purple colours and stuff, which is why I didn't use loads of sequins from the kit and, as I said, stuck with the black and white thing. So once those are all in their little sections, I'm going to go over all that foam tape with some tacky glue, just because, as I was saying, I wasn't able to use my usual method of cutting the foam tape. It had lost a little bit of its stickiness, so I'm adding some tacky glue just on top of that, just to be extra sure. And then very carefully, but not wonderfully, adding the backing bit. There, you can see the edges there where I didn't quite get it on straight. Putting some very heavy things on it there and left that for about 10 minutes and then it was stuck on very nicely. Now you can see here where some of the foam kind of creeping up behind like little bits of the webs and stuff, but I am going to cover those up later on, so it's not too much of a big deal. There was also one area where the sequins were falling out, that bottom right little shaker area, but what I did is just put some glossy accents in that little gap and let it dry, and then, you know, that plugged the hole, as it were. So finally, like 5 minutes through the video, I can actually start like the actual layout kind of part of it. Now I've done all my backing and everything. So taking my photo and backing it with some various things here, a mix of things again from the kit and from that add-on die cuts with the view paper pad that I got. And I'm just going to sort of fussy cut these webs and have a strip up the side of the photo, and I'm going to add Distress Oxide in Wilted Violet to a lot of things as well, because I don't know, that purple is like a perfect purple for the other purple I've used, the Lindy's. They match so well. So that's Oxide Wilted Violet. The picture is me, you may have guessed that already, and that it was one of those Halloweens. I actually cannot remember what year it was. I don't actually think this was actual Halloween, it was like near Halloween. And a friend asked me last minute if I wanted to go to this thing, and I'm like, yes, any excuse to do something for Halloween. But I had like 20 minutes to get ready, so I just did like this cobwebs thing with liquid eyeliner on my eyes, just did really, really spooky eyes, made my makeup really, really pale, and as I said, did where you would do like a flick with your liquid eyeliner and did an extra long one and made little cobwebs, and on one side I got a little spider dangling down. And yeah, I just came across this photo on my computer and I was like, this will be a good one to scrap because it is Halloweeny, and obviously this is a very spidery layout as well, even though I don't actually really like spiders, but I kind of like the creepiness of spiders for Halloween. But my title, I'm going to start doing it here. Now, if you saw not last week's but the week before layout, I mentioned that layout was named after one of my favourite Halloween songs, Spooky Scary Skeletons. And this layout is named after my other favourite Halloween song. And congratulations to Rachel who guessed correctly, but it's This Is Halloween, you know, from The Nightmare Before Christmas. I love it so much. However, I love the one from the film, don't get me wrong, but my favourite version is the Marilyn Manson version. It is so good. I can't remember, was it like the 20th anniversary of The Nightmare Before Christmas coming out, or the 10th or the 50th? I don't know, one of the anniversaries. A load of rock bands and artists got together and all did covers of songs from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and the best by a long way is Marilyn Manson's version of This Is Halloween. It is so good. So I'm doing boys and girls of every age. Wouldn't you like to see something strange for my title? Because I just love it so much. So I'm using a variety of thickers and alphas here. I've got those white ones, which are those mini pink paisley ones, the mini foam thickers. These ones were from, what are they from? Paige Evans Pick Me Up. I love these so much. I have two spare packets in my drawer of spare things. Those silver ones I used for every age there are from Hobbycraft. I got those quite a long time ago. I don't know if they'll still be available. And then what I've used for something strange are these Fancy Pants Goodfellows alphas. I don't know. I've been hoarding these forever because I love the font. But yes, if you saw me write down the title there, it's because I was doing it backwards to make sure it was lined up right, and I cannot spell backwards, so I write it out so that I can do it that way kind of thing. And I also used a little bit of the number 7 to do the apostrophe on the word wouldn't, because grammar is important. Anyway, at this point I'm just using various little bits and pieces from the kit to embellish around the photo. I wanted to add a little bit more texture, so I've got this little scrap of ribbon. I'm using the purple ribbon, that's the one from the kit, and then the one with the spider on is one from my stash that I bought at the range from the Halloween section. So I'm just putting those there again for a little bit of texture. I've added those clock stickers from Kaisercraft, and then I'm going to add those 3 sort of heavy embellishments. On the left there's the Tim Holtz chip. There is the, I was about to call it a Brad, the flare. There we go, from the Scrap Lab, which is a kit exclusive, and the flower as well. So I'm putting those things down with gloss gel medium, because the heavy embellishments kind of, you know, it's better just to use that rather than just hope that tacky glue or something else works. And then I'm going to add a couple of these little stickers from the die cuts with a view pad. I actually waited a while after putting down the gloss gel medium, because funny and mildly ironic story. So I put those embellishments down. I went downstairs to go get a drink to give it a chance to dry. While I was down there, I saw, not even kidding, the biggest spider I have ever seen in this country ever in our dining room, and I may have shrieked very loudly. It was blanking humongous. I mean, really, it was enormous. It's just one of those, they're called a giant house spider, aren't they? I mean, they are, I know they're harmless, but they're so big. And it was actually going quite slowly, and someone was like, and my mum rescued me, thank you mum, from the spider, and got a glass and everything. But I mean, it was going slowly, so it wasn't so bad. You know, those ones can go really fast if they want to, but it was enormous. But I thought it was kind of hilarious that I'm doing this really spidery layout, and yet when I actually went downstairs and saw a spider, totally freaked out. Anyway, that was a total side note. I've added some of the Prima crystals to this layout, and I'm also going and adding more sequins, mostly on the areas where I was saying earlier where you can see little bits of foam. So I've added bats and spiders and other kinds of sequins, and those are basically just to cover up the foam that's sticking out, and then also balancing it out with other ones around the same area, so it doesn't look too obvious like I am covering something up. It's mildly annoying that you can't see very well in the video or the pictures the shaker elements behind, because they do look really cool in person, especially with the little spiders in there and stuff. It just like looks like there's loads of things trapped in webs and stuff. But I've tried to take some photos that reflect the shaker elements, so hopefully you'll be able to get an idea. Finishing here as per usual with my Nuvo drops, I am using Gloss White, White Blizzard and Midnight Sky, I think it is. And the White Blizzard I'm using just in little areas around the webs to just kind of highlight little bits, you know, like in the morning when there's like little dewdrops on spider webs and they go all sparkly, just kind of, that's the kind of thing I'm trying to do there. And that, I believe, is it. So there we go. I am finished, slightly longer than usual because of all the stuff that happened at the beginning with making the shaker elements, but I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, please leave me a thumbs up if you did. Links, as always, will all be in the description box below, including obviously a link to the kit. And yeah, okay, I think I'm done. Thank you so much again. I am now going. Bye bye.